But we do have a right, even under the American Constitution, to vote for independence, and in the same way that the countries of Lithuania and Latvia voted for independence from the Soviet Union, and now they're free, independent countries, and there was no fighting.
Exactly. There was very little. There was only, for the most part, it was a very peaceful breakup of the Soviet Union. Which now in Russia, I've heard that professors are writing theses about how the United States is going to break up. The writing is all over the wall. We have to, face the facts that the United States empire is on its last leg, and we're going to have to come up with a different system. And it's whether you just want to, it's work now to prepare for that, or go down with the Titanic. Your choice. I choose.
An empire is certainly the right word.
Yeah.
We're bigger than the Roman Empire ever was.
Yeah.
And the Roman Empire never had the army and forts in 100 or more other countries, which we have. We have our soldiers all over the world, and they call them bases, but really they're forts, and it's really controlling the world. We're talking
Absolutely.
about. It just isn't right. Even if we can get away with it, it's not right. The people in these other countries, they can't vote in our elections.
No.
Why should they be subject to our control?
They shouldn't. And you know what? Also the insanity of what's happening now with those drones. I don't know if you've ever read Orson Scott Card, Ender's Game. In that science fiction book, they teach kids how to play video games. And what they're actually doing is controlling ships in outer space and they annihilate an alien race. But and I heard, I saw the 60 Minutes story about the drones and how people in Las Vegas in air-conditioned rooms are controlling drones in Afghanistan. I think, and also in Pakistan they're doing that and controlling drones and killing people, and then they're landing the drones, going home and eating dinner with their family. It's just, it's completely insane. It's got to stop. We've lost complete control, and so this is how we fight the system, how we is with an independent Republic of Vermont. That's how you do it. I don't know what else to say, but this is where we have to start. This is where we have to take a stand, and Vermont is the perfect place for that.
And now we have town meeting day coming up in March, and as you mentioned, this issue of independence will be on the agenda for some of the town meetings, right?
I don't know. I got it on my town meeting last year. I don't know if anybody else is doing it. It will work. The reason I did it in Kirby was to show that it could be done. I didn't think it would pass. I had, my battle, I won by getting enough signatures and proving that it could be put on the town hall warning. That was my point. That's why I did it.
Well, that was last March.
Last March.
How about this March?
I'm not planning on doing that. I'm going to leave Kirby alone. I've shown that it can be done. That was the point of it.
I believe it was done in other towns.
No.
No?
No, Kirby was the first one. I was the first person to do it. And I did it to show that it could be done. It can be done with the town hall warnings. All we need is one person or a group of people in each town that is willing to get together and actually do it. Now, in Kirby, I didn't have much support for that, but I did get 45 signatures. People were at least willing to talk about it. So that shows something.
So you had to have 45 signatures?
No, I only needed 15.
Only 15?
But I got 45. But, the population is 250 or something like that, or 256. You only need 5% of the signatures of your town. That's where the power of this whole thing, why it can happen in a peaceful way, is because of how we're small. Because the town meetings can be controlled. Because it's so easy to get, your voice on there. That's how this whole thing can happen peacefully, is through the town meetings and running for office in state office. But the town meetings are a big factor in that. And because we have all the small communities and we have those town meetings, when we're ready, and when the people are ready to stand up, it can happen very peacefully.
So there are people all over the state of Vermont that are watching this show.
Yeah.
And they can go and get 15 of their friends to sign?
Well, it depends on the population of your town. So I think it's 5% to get on. And you should call your town hall, town clerk, just get all the rules, make sure you're doing it all correctly, and get everybody together. It's not easy it's not hard to get people to sign the petition for that. The hard thing is getting it to pass. You're going to have to go the extra mile on that, and that is eventually, as you build an organization, you can make sure they all show up at town hall meeting. And I mean, that's what the Republicans and the Democrats do in the town hall meeting. They make sure they've got everything pretty much worked out ahead of time, and they know which way they're voting. So we're going to have to play that game, and that's how we do it peacefully. That's how we get the legislature to wake up and start taking notice.
Well, now, the Northeast Kingdom is noted as being a conservative area of Vermont, right? Mm-hmm. So people in other parts of the state may not experience the same difficulties that you had in it, and it's very possible that...
they are, because now we've got President Obama. I mean, that's the liberals' savior, right? So they're gonna have a hard time, because now I think what you're seeing now is neoliberals. And you had neocons in the Republican Party, and you had neoliberals in the Democrat Party, because I've met some of them, and it kind of freaked me out when you start talking to one and they start justifying why they're in the Iraq War. When Bush was in, they were talking about, justifying why we're in Afghanistan. And then when Bush was in office in Iraq, they were all anti-war, and all of a sudden they've got a new viewpoint. And I was like, I look at them and I go, wow, you sound just like the neocons in the Republican Party. I said, that's pretty scary. And it does scare me a lot to see that happening. But I have faith that a lot of the Democrats are going to become frustrated with the Obama administration, and I think the only answer they're going to see is Vermont independence.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that are very frustrated, and a lot of people, and the part of the thing is there's nowhere to turn to. I hate to use the analogy that your mother and your father are both beating you, and you can't go to the other one and say, hey, stop him from beating me, but it's kind of the same thing. The Republicans, of course, 49% of the population did not like George Bush from the get-go all the way through. Well, now Obama got voted in, and we were hoping that he would stop these policies, and a lot of the people, except for the neoliberals who are trying to justify it, I'm talking to these people and they're going, we've been shafted here. We're still in the war. He's escalating, and now we know that there's more troops in the Middle East now than there ever were when George Bush was in office. So what does that tell you? He's escalated the war. There's no way around it. There's more troops over there now. Okay, and so people are frustrated, but they've only ever been given two choices. Your whole life you've been given two choices. Nobody votes for that party. Nobody votes. Well, it's not really what I think they're advocating, is that you're not really voting for a party, you're voting to leave that whole system, basically. Japan survives quite well, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, there's a whole bunch of countries who don't have a big military, who are doing quite well, who are trading with other countries, whose economy is booming, all these countries I named. They're having no problem, and some of them aren't much bigger than the size of Vermont, okay? So it's possible. It's just opening your mind a little and realizing, though, that you don't have to be attached to this thing that really is, like he said, you're going down with the ship here. There's just, it's almost guaranteed. I mean, when they first announced Obama's thinking about sending 40,000 troops in, I said, no, he's not thinking about it. He's pretending to think about it. It's going to happen because he's not in charge here. The people in charge are the people with the money. The people with the money are the military, the banks. That's who's in charge, and that's the problem with the system.